Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you could tell from the title, I will be doing talking about my journey being pregnant and transitioning into a mother. So, a little background on me and M. He was my middle school, high school crush. I was head over heels for him. He is my friend's eldest brother. So he's 2 years older than me. We had a thing back when we were in high school. It wasn't nothing too serious, but enough to make my little crush of him grow, you know? Then a couple years later, he graduated. I'm still in high school, of course. And I remember us sitting on his uncle's porch and him talking about his ambitions and things that he wants to accomplish and his future. And I remember him leaving. He wanted to leave. And that night he asked me, "Do you want to come with me?" And of course, back then, I'm still in high school. I'm still wet behind the ears. I don't know nothing about nothing of life. And he's experienced it at a young age, unfortunately. He walked me home that night, and that was the last night I seen him for years. And, you know, I seen him once or twice throughout the years through, like, his sister, like, when she had her first baby shower and stuff like that. But then, a couple years ago, I met him again at her second child's first birthday, his nephew's birthday, and he looked really good. He looked really good, like better than before. Like it was like a crush all over again, and I hate when I do that. Like I like you when I love, like you got me here. But yeah. We started talking, one thing after another, we hit it off. We started dating. Now, before I get really into this story, one thing I want you to know about me is you can ask my friends, family, whatever. I mean, probably wouldn't ask family, that would be weird. But you can ask my friends. I am the cautious person. I am super cautious when it comes to that situation. Like, protection, make sure you're safe. Like, I am not the type to do that. But here we go. I ended up being the type to do that. And I was so like, it's just because I think he got me in a time of my life where everything changed for me. Not everything, but majority of everything changed for me. I grew up with, I'm not mad about it. I grew up with strict parents, and most things that my friends got to do, like go out and party, I was the one that stayed in the house. I was the one with the early curfew, which at the time I didn't appreciate it. I thought it sucked. I mean, it did suck. Like I didn't live a fun teenage life, but no, there was moments where I did, but not how my friends lived it. And looking at it now, I'm grateful. Like I could have gotten so much trouble doing half of the stuff that my friend did at the time. But yeah, so I'm out of school. I'm a couple years out of school now, and I'm grown. Like, just put it like that. I started going out more. I started hanging out with my friends, not just being in the house all the time and then school. I actually, you know, it was work and then go and play hard. Work, save, play hard. Like that was my mind. Like I was single and I was having fun. And then he came in my life. So I think at that time in my life, if he would have asked me to go with him right there, I would have said yes. I would have definitely said yes. Let's go. Let's have fun. Let's live life. But you know, we hit it off. We started dating, and the pregnancy, of course, was not of course, but the pregnancy wasn't planned. Even though we had years on our belts with each other, it was weird because it was a couple months into our relationship when I got pregnant. That I remember for sure. And I'm not that type of person to do none of that. And I stopped myself one day. I just like snapped out of it. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, we don't do this. Get yourself together for real. Like, go make an appointment so you can get on birth control. Like, stop doing this dumb stuff. And I did that. And so I went to my appointment, and I know the procedure. I've been on birth control the last time you had a period. You need to pee in this cup. Or after this, we'll talk about, continuing to talk about birth control and getting you on there. And I was like, okay, yeah, I have irregular periods. Ever since I got off the double shot, I've had irregular periods. So I never really kept track of my period. I just know I'm about to get it when I get intense cramps. And so they was like, okay, well, pee in this cup. And I'm like, okay, same stuff, different day. I'm used to it, and I didn't think none of it. So she came, I waited and waited and waited. And then she came in the room. And I'm like, okay, well, when should we start? What recommendations would you give me for birth control? I don't know which one is the best. She's like, well, I don't think we could do that. You're pregnant. I was like, what? You're pregnant? I'm pregnant? She goes, well, yes, you're pregnant. The test came back positive. The world came crashing down. Not trying to be melodramatic, but it really felt like my world was like at it took an abrupt stop. Like, everything just came crashing. But it was more of I didn't really fully grasp the situation. Like, I literally can't tell you. After she said you're pregnant and it came back positive, I can't tell you what she said after that. Like, even though I felt like I was on auto, like I was automatically just saying words, and my brain was just elsewhere. Like, I was just shocked. So after I got out of the room and I went to the lobby, I called my best friend. She was the first one to find out. She was the first one I called. Because I was at a point where I was so shocked, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep the baby. I'm going to be honest with you. So I didn't want to tell my family. I didn't want to tell him yet. So I called her. It was weird because as soon as I heard her voice and I got out the words, I'm pregnant, to her. And of course she was like, no, you're not. You're stop playing. And I said it a second time. And she was like, no. And she started to believe me. I wanted to break down right then and there because it felt so real, because I'm actually telling somebody now. This is real, that I'm actually pregnant. But I held it together because I didn't want everybody in the lobby to look at me like I'm some crazy person. The hard part was actually telling him. Actually, maybe the harder part was actually telling my mom. Telling him wasn't that bad. Telling my mother. I told him, and of course, he had the same reaction as me, It was weird. I told him the same day I found out. I came from the hospital, and I was hanging out with him that day, and he was like, how'd it go? How'd your appointment go? Are you getting on birth control? And I'm like, no. Like, it took me a minute to tell him. Like, I kept being weird about it, and he sensed that I was being weird about it, so he changed the subject, and then we talking a little bit, and then I kind of just blurted it out. I'm like, I'm pregnant. And he just what? I'm pregnant. No, you're not. Yes, I am. The look of horror on his face. And, I'm not offended by it, because honestly, it was the same thing that the look that I felt when it actually hit me that I'm pregnant. Like, I was horrified, terrified. I didn't want none of this. I wanted everything to stop. And I'm pretty sure that's how he felt, just like me. So, of course, we both came to agreement to not keep her. And so that was the plan. Every time, I set up a schedule to get the procedure done, something always happened. Something always got in the way. I remember one of them was I forgot my ID and so they wouldn't let me in without an ID. Like, I had the money, had everything, but I didn't have the ID. And I think I went 2 times or 3 times, and something kept happening. And so I talked to my mom about it, and I kept getting stressed because the longer I waited, the possibility I'm not going to be able to get this procedure done. And so she's like, well, this is a sign. This is a sign to tell you to keep the baby. The baby is yours, and the baby wants to live. So I went to M, and I started talking to him. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. He comforted me. Even though he felt his way about it and I felt my way about it, in the end, he still comforted me. And he was like, I think we should keep the baby. Because he said he felt really bad because the baby started growing arms and legs. Because I think I got an ultrasound to see how far the baby was so I can get a procedure done. And he's seen it. I would have been able to go through the procedure. I think I was trying to force myself because I already put it in my mind, like, this is going to happen. And so when I seen the picture, I remember crying when I got my first ultrasound. I cried because I was like, wow, like, I have a human being in my stomach. But at the end of the day, we ended up deciding to keep the baby. I remember crying really hard. But in between going to get the procedure done and getting the money and everything, I remember telling it to my mom too. And I started, like, literally bawling, crying. And she was like, you're lying. Stop playing with me. Don't play with my feelings. And my best friend was on the phone, and she was like, Mom Dukes, no, she's not lying. She's being serious. And that's when my mom took it serious. But she wanted me to keep her from the beginning, So I went on this journey, this emotional journey. Like, when I tell you, I was emotional. Like, I cried over everything. Like, I think that was the worst of my pregnancy thing. Like, I didn't have a bad pregnancy. Like, I was just a big old crybaby. Like, honestly, I got in my feelings easily. I know M could not stand me. Like, he was tired of my BS, but he put up with it. But honestly, during the pregnancy, our relationship did, like, it shifted a lot. And not just because of the pregnancy, a lot of outside things that happened around the time of me being pregnant. And it made my pregnancy a lot harder than it should have been. I was stressed out a lot, and we were on the verge of just saying maybe we should just co-parent. And well, I was on the verge maybe to say I should just co-parent and just be done with this. But we stuck with it. We stuck with each other, and we had her. She was born June 24th. And again, my pregnancy wasn't that bad. I think by the end of it, the worst was like a swollen foot. Every time I got up, my feet would swell up. And it was summertime, and I was out in the heat, and I just wanted to die. Like, it was so bad. One of the other worst experience for me with pregnancy is not even the delivery, it was the pre-delivery, getting ready to deliver. She wasn't supposed to be born until July 7th, but she came early to let me have the baby that day because I forget what it was. I think I had like something wrong with me, so I had to push the baby out that day. It sucks so bad because I kept throwing up and I had a bad intense headache. And the terrible thing about it is, like, they can give me medicine. I took the medicine, but I kept throwing it up, so they couldn't give me more medicine after I threw it up because they wasn't sure if it all came out of me, and they didn't want to give me too much drugs while I was taking other drugs for the baby. So they were like, I had to deal with it. And it was the worst experience ever. I had the headache was so intense, and I just kept vomiting everywhere. My mom was with me through half of the day, and then M got off work, and he was with me for the rest of the days. I stayed at the hospital, And at 10:25, I believe, 10:22, 10:25, she arrived. They had a mirror on the ceiling, and I kept looking up at myself. It was disgusting, but beautiful. It was a beautiful experience, like the feeling you get after birth and you finally lay your eyes on your baby. But looking at it while you're doing it, it's like one of those disturbing things that you can't look away. Like, I was looking at it and I was so disgusted, but I couldn't stop looking at myself. And I'm just like, it was so dirty. It was nasty. She was a big crybaby. She's a crybaby. But she was spoiled out the womb. Oh, that was so bad. She was spoiled out the womb. Like, when she was in the nursery and I was trying to get me a little rest, which you can't because all the nurses wake you up every hour on the hour. So even if you put the baby in the nursery, you're not getting rest because the nurses is just waking you up to give you like medicine, pressure on your stomach and stuff like that. But anyway, side note. Yeah, so even like in the nursery, they was like, she was the only one that like kept crying every time we put her down, and we tried to rock her back to sleep, and she just wanted to be in our arms, and she kept crying every time we put her down. I'm just like, oh God, she's already spoiled. That's bad. It was, I think throughout my pregnancy, there were some moments where I looked at him and I was just like, wow. Like when I had the baby and he was right there holding my leg and, you know, encouraging me. I felt love all over again. Like little moments like that. But unfortunately, those little moments don't always add up. Right now we are on a agreement. That's all I'm gonna say about me and M's relationship. But yeah. Being a mom is very tricky. It's not about just you anymore, which is obvious, but the worst thing, I'm ready to like, say it all. But don't get me wrong, I love my daughter. The worst thing about being a parent is she is 10 months already and she still has not slept through the night. She should have been slept through the night when she turned 6 months, but I've been dealing with a baby that hates sleeping through the night. Last night was one of the bad ones. She kept waking up, it felt like almost every hour of the night, and it sucked. But I deal with it because I love her. She's a crybaby. She'll just keep crying and crying, and she will not stop. She's violent. She likes fighting. Like, she'll just like try to attack your face if you're close to her. Like if you're close to her face, she will scratch the mess out of you. But all the little journeys in between is so beautiful. Like, I love her so much. Getting to see her roll over for the first time, getting to see her hold her bottle for the first time, hold her head up, seeing her stand for the first time. Now I'm just ready for her to start walking. Seeing those little journeys around the way, seeing her crawl for the first time, like, all that stuff makes everything worth it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna make parenthood sound just amazing. It sucks. It sucks. Like, I have a lot of moments where I'm just ready to just be like, screw this, like, screw it all. But I don't, because she needs me and I love her, and I don't think I'll ever come to that conclusion. Even though moments like last night where I was super frustrated because I could not sleep got me there, I still was like, you know, she's mine and she's not going anywhere. But the journey of my baby, she's the world to me. I love her so much. Yeah, but that's basically it. I mean, she's about to turn 1 in 2 months, and I am so excited. I'm going to try to record that so I can post it, because I got her this adorable, cute dress, and she's gonna look so crazy. Like, I get so like gushy and just flustered when it comes to my own daughter. Like, I'm just like, you look so cute. I can't help it. It's gonna, like, my mind is gonna blow up. Like, I love her so much. But yeah, her birthday's in 2 months. I can't wait for that because I have some things planned for her, and I guess that's it. I guess that's all I have to say. Pregnancy was awesome. Only thing that made my pregnancy hard was the people around me. Being a mom sucks, but it also is amazing because it's like a best of both worlds. Not everything is there's not gonna always be pros. There's gonna be cons with a lot of things that are pros, and pros with a lot of things that are cons. Please like and subscribe for more content like this or similar to this. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my story time and how things went with me. And I'll see you in the next video.